Me and my son Hunter, we'd like to send our sympathy to LaVoy's parent, mom, wife, family, and his mom and dad. And we're truly sorry that Harney County had the balls to take the life of a good man. We honor you, and we say anytime you're in your Harney County, our home is welcome to you. And you can stop by and have a couple glass of water or whatever. We're always welcome. LaVoy's family. God love you. God bless you.
I had the opportunity to meet LaVoy too, so and I agreed with what you were saying. So he's a great man, and he was a very godly man, and he also knew the Constitution. And with everything that happened to him, he maintained a high moral ground. And I believe everyone that has that I've met since I've been out here has held that ground, and I think it will continue to be held because that's just who we all are out here. So,
very true.
Yeah, very true.
And I'm standing here between the father and son here.
Yeah.
Check this out.
First off, me and my son, we honor the Constitution of the United States. We stand by its principles and what it states. It was written for us common men. It wasn't written for lawyers and politicians that pad their pocket off the sweat of our brow. It's time to take our country back, people. Look in Burns, Oregon, at the Constitution being destroyed by our politicians. Look what Steve Grasty, Dave Ward, has done. Dave Ward has surrendered our county to the politicians, the corporate bankers, the corporate politicians that want to do nothing but destroy our county. You call it your free land? Sorry, it's not your land. It's not our land anymore. The government is taking it over. The government will control it, and we will not be able to use it. So people, come together, fight this government, or we will lose the right to use our land. It will become their land.
And I'm going to, this whole thing of this divide and conquer what the mainstream media tries to put out there. So, I mean, I'm here to kind of dispel that, and I think you guys recognize, where I'm coming from with all that too. So, I want to say to all of you out there, we're all Americans, we're all people, and you need to stop letting the mainstream control the narrative out there. We all need to work together, and I will continue to stress that. I've been stressing it for years now, and I'm just glad to be here to assist as best I can.
We're brothers and sisters, as we're brothers and sisters. Color don't matter, people.
That's right.
But color don't matter. The color issue the government is trying to portray is to divide us and separate us. But we stand together, white men, black men. We are brothers, and we are united under one cause, freedom. Freedom of all. We don't want to be slaves to the government. We don't want to be slaves to anybody. The UN, United Nations, to Uranium One, or to Hillary Clinton. We are Americans, and we stand together. Black, white, Asian, the Native Americans.
Thank you. I was going to say we need to mention that aspect. We saw a couple of Paiute women downtown tonight, and I'll tell you what, they've missed the boat. They're out there being really abusive during the roll-on tonight.
Roll-on,
right? With the civil disobedience, right?
How many people were out at the rollout, by the way?
Oh man, I don't know. There's probably
hundreds.
Hundreds.
I bet you
I don't know when they
300.
started. At least a couple hundred for sure.
It was at Rite Aid, and it filled up their parking lot.
I missed that. I've seen some of them on YouTube, and I'm like, man. But you know what? There's another one tomorrow.
Yep.
And then Monday?
Monday should be.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Well, people are waking up, and they're just tired of it. It's not, this is I guess you could say the epicenter of this, based upon everything that's been happening. But every single county is affected. And this is not just a Harney County issue. It's every single county across the United States. I like saying these United States, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like the founding fathers did, right?
And when we talk of the government, it is an it. It's not a them. It's not ours or nothing. It's an it. Government is an entity of the corporation. So we got to start that. And as to you liberals that cut down and criticize and ridicule and spin what the Bundys have done in this country, you don't know shit. You don't know nothing.
Can we say that?
You can say that. They're full of what? The government's full of what? Did I hear that right? The government's full of what?
Yep.
That's your dad, huh?
Hunter, how do you feel on that?
The government's supposed to represent the people, and they're not representing the people anymore. They're representing themselves, and they're doing whatever they want, and they're just stomping all over the people.
And that's coming from a young man, okay, who understands.
Well, look who he's raised by. I mean,
Well,
come on.
yeah, of course, yeah.
You know, he's lucky. How many young men out there don't have the luxury of a father because of what this government's done?
Yes.
I mean, it ain't. I mean, that's what I see.
Yes.
You know. Well, also, you know, Monday will be a rollout on the feds peacefully, but that's what we did with the 3%. Is rolled out on them peacefully, but with firm resolve. And that's
the
what
resolution was delivered, you know,
Yeah.
and every administrative process has gone through. I mean, but it's totally ignored. You know, they did that press conference, and they was it, well, everyone, Grassley, is that what it was?
Grassley.
And Ward, you know, they're acting as though they did everything they could do. No, they didn't. They didn't address that at all. And it's been asked several times for them to address the issue, and they just flat refuse.
And they're hiding.
Yeah, exactly.
We can't even go to our county courthouse. They've got a line. If you cross between those two cones, they approach you with an M16 machine gun with their finger on the trigger. We did a protest. God love this. An old man, 80 years old, standing out there with a sign that says assassination, ambush of the American, of a true American. And they had the balls to send out their snipers with long rifles to watch us. If we made a mistake, they were going to take us down. The county courthouse is bombarded, is occupied. The true occupiers that have occupied and armed to kill American soldiers was not the Bundys. It is the United States government. It is the FBI.
Well, it's
It is
people
the
within
sheriff.
government. I think we still need to. I know.
Yeah.
But it's not the government, because they always want to label us as being anti-government. So
We're not
it's
anti-government.
not anti-government, but you know what? The fraud and corruption that happens by some of these rogue people in there that are so power hungry, that's where the problem lies. And it's our fault, because we've allowed them to do what they're doing.
We've just turned our backs too long.
That's It's
We've
about,
turned our backs too long and just tucked our heads like, maybe it'll just get by this generation and pass on to the next generation. It'll be their problem. Well, it's about time to take our own stand and stop them from just walking over top of us.
absolutely.
Yep.
Legally, lawfully, constitutionally,
Yeah.
and peacefully.
So, gentlemen, what do you think about all the evidence we've heard from the two girls' statement now that it's all come out? Isn't that something?
That's pretty damning, because I'll tell you what, their key witnesses separated, and their stories.
Did you all three of you gentlemen know her and met her?
Yeah, I was fortunate to meet
Victoria?
both
Yeah, Victoria
and her
and
family,
Yeah.
as well as Shauna. Yes.
We met him down at the refuge.
And Victoria is an 18-year-old girl with the most angelic voice you'll ever hear. And, you know, she didn't need to see that. And it's going to live with her whole life.
Yeah.
You know, if you had anything to say to the good officers out there, what would it be to the good officers?
It's time that the officers that believe in the Constitution of the United States stand up.
Yeah.
Stand up to the corruption. We call upon you to come to Harney County and represent us. We need good men. We need men that believe in the Constitution. We don't need chickens. The chickens can go home and roost. Go back to Barack Obama. And,
Spoken like a true cowboy, you know. Behind you is everything from a ranch. What is that up there?
Texas Longhorn.
That's a what?
Texas Longhorn.
That's a Texas Longhorn. And we have a couple of rifles on the wall. Looks like Matt Dillon's home. Look at there. I think, folks, these are real cowboys. He's even
more
real.
real than this, right?
He ain't
Now
gonna
you got
get
the
hit.
hat. Check that out. Yeah.
That's all right. We forced it on you.
Love you guys, man. Thanks. And thanks for
Hey, on the last note, what would you like to say to the American people about Monday, and what can they do to come to Burns? Is there anything that they can do?
I ask of you people to stand up to the Constitution. If you can make it, great. If you can't, pray for us.
Yeah.
We have something going on here that is militarily corrupt, that is corrupt by the federal government and the corporate government. We have more military assets here. Why? Why do they all need to come into Harney County? They're here to stomp the American people and show the people of America, you stand up to us, we will destroy you. We are living in fear. The only fear that's been in Harney County since the start of it is brought on to us by the cops, the federal agents, and our own county fathers. How dare the county fathers that receive our money stand against the Constitution and stand against the United States people?
And we're not even sure if they're proper. I mean, we know the FBI, that is an agency. It's a corporate agency. De facto, I like saying. We don't even know if they're actually who they say they are. You know, there's talk of them being like these, what do they call them? Like, well, they got the Blackhawks.
Mercenary soldiers.
Yeah, mercenaries.
What they have is floating field agents that can put a Velcro patch of.
When that incident happened, when LaVoy got murdered, what came to mind when I heard that reminded me of Kennedy, you know, the president, right? It's like they did to him to say, if you hold this office, if you don't do what you're told, this is what happened. That was a shock. That was something to warn every other president.
Yeah.
By them doing what they did to LaVoy, that is along the same lines. Basically saying, if you speak up, you love the Constitution, you believe in God, you know, basically this is what's going to happen to you. Do not come against us, or you'll be killed.
Generals, the United States generals in the military,
Where are they
officers, where are you at? We let a man lay there in the snow while our government associates were laughing as he died. We did not provide aid. We provide aid to enemies on the field. We provide aid to men that try to kill us. But we do not provide aid to an American. How dare you? You say you're a general and you believe in the Constitution, well then show us. Stand with us Americans. We are lonely, small people. We're a small county. But by God, this is shot that was rang around the world. And to you, murderers, I dare you. Try to take any more, and you will have the wrath of God down your throat so bad that you will be destroyed, and everybody you represent will be destroyed. That I swear to you. God will bring the wrath of the great Almighty down upon you.
Well, history has shown, right? Even though back in the day with the Jewish prison camps and with Hitler, right? All of those that thought they got away just because they were following orders, and then the Nuremberg trials. So, common law, juries, Article 3 courts, that's the only way this can be resolved, because these guys are not going to, they protect each other. So there is no justice in the courts, not in these de facto courts.
No, not anymore.
And so it has to be a court of the people.
Yeah.
And that's the other basic.
It has to be a court of the people that was raised in the country lifestyle that are not been
a jury of your peers. Not somebody from the city.
Not somebody that's been from the city that has no idea what actually is happening here.
That's the 6th Amendment, right?
Why did they ship the Bundys to Portland? They should have stayed here. Portland is a socialist city that is totally corrupt. They're corrupt from the start to the bottom. Well, I thank you people for taking the time to watch this video. And I pray for America, and I pray for every one of you, and that your families are safe, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren will see freedom. If it means we die for freedom, we'll die for freedom. At least my grandchildren will know that I did stand for the Constitution.
We didn't let it just happen. We didn't turn our head to it, and we weren't afraid to stand up.
Nicely said. Thanks, guys.
I'm proud of you, bud. Love you.
Love you.
Love you too, bro. Cool.
Last weekend, before LaVoy Finicum was shot down by the feds, he visited Utah and spoke at the Butte County Ranchers Association, urging local ranchers to disavow their contracts with the federal government. And some did. As many as 8 ranchers agreed to disavow their contracts with the Bureau of Land Management as well as the U.S. Forest Service, citing a long trail of abuses. Utah ranchers, patriots, and activists took their message to Boise, Idaho this weekend in a follow-up event that they organized called Storm Over the Rangelands. People are getting involved. They're organizing at the grassroots level, standing behind the law of the land, the Constitution. But it's not just the people that want their lands back from the federal government. Utah Governor Gary Herbert looks to move forward with plans to seize 31+ million acres of Utah land back from the federal government and restore the control back to the state. Currently, the federal government lays claim to 64.5% of the lands of the state of Utah. In 2012, the Utah legislature passed the Transfer of Public Lands Act, demanding that the federal government relinquish their hold of Utah state land by the end of last year. But the federal government did not do so, and they have not done so at this point. So at this point, the governor has a 4-step plan, including education, negotiation, legislation, and litigation. So the state of Utah released a report demonstrating that they were fully capable of managing and taking care of the lands, and that the services of the BLM and the U.S. Forest Service were not necessary. They estimated that it would cost around $280 million to take care of the lands. But they estimate they'd be able to make $332 million in royalties from mineral resources and development off those lands. So essentially, the federal government lays claim to 2/3 of Utah state land. Utah is looking to sue the federal government to get those lands back, but this is not set in stone at this point, as there is a minor setback of the price tag of this lawsuit is estimated to be around $14 million, and it's making some state officials pause, while other state officials criticize that and state you cannot put a price tag on our freedom. The states were meant to be checks against federal tyranny. It's time that governors recognize this and step up to the plate. I'd certainly like to see Utah make this stand against the federal government and successfully reclaim their lands. I'd also like to see other states join Utah in this effort. The contempt for constitutional limitations on the federal government is bipartisan and long-standing. We have seen officials, both elected and appointed, serving foreign special interests, putting the interests of foreign governments before their own people. We have seen the merger of corporations and governments. This is fascism. They are willing to sell us out just to make a profit. It should be very interesting to see how this plays out with Utah and other states should they proceed with this lawsuit against the federal government. Since the federal courts themselves are a branch of the federal government, how can we, the people, expect to consider those courts to be impartial and non-biased? Even the Supreme Court itself, which is regarded to be the final say on constitutionality of the federal government, is itself a branch of the federal government, which is precisely the reason why founders like Jefferson introduced nullification. The central point behind nullification is that the federal government cannot be permitted to hold a monopoly on constitutional interpretation. So nullification begins at the point when a federal law violates the Constitution, and at that point it is null and void. It does not take effect, and the states can refuse to enforce it. So this is a way we can take the power back.
Activists in an Oregon town near the refuge occupied by a militia are asking police to leave. People in Burns, Oregon organized to protest what they called a militarized police presence in the standoff with the militia. The Pacific Patriots Network organized a rolling rally through the town Saturday night and said it planned more demonstrations over the killing of one occupier and the presence of heavily armed law police. Meanwhile, the 4 people occupying the wildlife refuge held their position Sunday. They've demanded that they be allowed to leave without being arrested. The jailed group's leader, Ammon Bundy, urged the occupiers to go home.
Okay, Lee Rice.
Lee?
Nice to meet you, bro. Okay, so Just tell me a bit briefly. You're local here, right?
Yep, I grew up in Burns. I was born in the Burns Hospital. I've lived here 90% of my life, other than leaving for work occasionally. I've lived here my entire life.
So, because back in Idaho, right? And actually all the mainstream media, they're trying to make it out like the locals, like they want us out of here. They don't want any help.
The locals right now are very divided, where most of the ranching community and agricultural community and farming community is we're scared. Well, I'm not scared of these people, but we're afraid that these guys are going to come in and do the same thing to any Joe Blow, just like they did to the Hammonds.
Sure.
And then the rest of them are either people that are skeptics, or they just say, oh yeah, they work for the refuge, and they say, oh yeah, these are all criminals, and they just write us off as a bunch of crazies.
Right.
I don't have a dog in this fight. My family does not have any BLM permits. We ranch our cattle on all private land, and we do hay on private property. I don't have a dog in this fight. The reason I'm here is because this is what I believe in. I believe that the FBI is trying to intimidate the American people and keep us under their thumb as their subjects. And it's BS. I'm tired of it. I want these people to go home. You don't need 100 FBI agents with M16s and sniper rifles, and you don't need all these armored vehicles for 4 guys with hunting rifles.
Yeah, thank you.
The Oregon State Police and the Harney County Sheriff's Department could take care of this peacefully, and nobody needed to die.
Yep.
Absolutely not. If the FBI wouldn't have escalated things like they've done out here, LaVoy would still be alive, and that's what I believe.
Thank you.
So the reason I came out was I posted this sign is, I am not afraid of the FBI. These people will not intimidate me. The people that I've talked to, they were kind and courteous, but that's not what their body language and what they're showing.
I agree. I was talking to one of the guys over there, just loaded the bear,
and I respect these people for doing their job. They're just taking orders from somebody higher up, and that's who the problem is the higher ups.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, thanks.
Thank you.
Appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. Huh? Okay, there must be something going on, because now all these guys are rolling out, heading somewhere. Don't know where. Oh, and look they're bringing out the big boy. Where are they going? What are they doing? Are you kidding me? How sick is that?
The FBI is not listening to us. They never have. Not from the moment we got here until the moment we leave out of here tomorrow. They are not listening. They do not negotiate. I think Chris Ann Hall was right. We're not ready. They've made our slavery way too easy. Way too comfortable. David Fry said to me, "May the chains rest lightly." David Fry trusted me enough to call me and talk to me and ask me to put out his last message. And that's what I'm going to do. It's still dangerous here. 3 more MRAPs, three more MRAPs were brought here today, and they doubled the size of law enforcement on the ground because they're having a rally tomorrow. It's still a very dangerous situation for everybody. They're going to ask that the FBI leave. If the FBI leaves, then the people up on the refuge are safe. So they are doing something. They're trying. I know people who have stayed awake for 3 days in a row trying to talk to those young men and women. And they will not listen. They say they're not coming down, that they are going to die there. They'd rather die than go to prison and be raped and tortured by the United States government. That is their choice. Some people chose to fight another day. And some people chose to fight it in court. At the end of the day, they are all patriots.
What's going on tomorrow?
Okay, excuse me. From what I understand, there's plans being made to have like a visual salute for LaVoy's death, because I believe tomorrow's his funeral. And how this is going to take place is there are people that what's going to happen is the visual salute is going to be the largest, the firing off of the largest firework, like mortar fireworks that you can light off, okay, at dusk tomorrow night. And it's also requested that that this happens all across the nation at dusk, whenever that time is in the area of the nation that you're in. This is to show a salute, like a 21 gun salute, but without firing weapons. Okay, just fireworks. I want to make that very clear. And I want to also make it clear that there are some states that may have to be careful about doing that, because I don't know if it's legal in every state. So we got to consider that also, just putting that perspective out there. But yeah, this is all about saluting LaVoy's patriotic.
You have an appearance tomorrow, don't you?
No,
I
have to go back and see the attorney. We're going back to the court because when I was released, they did not give me the terms and conditions or whatever. They gave me nothing. I didn't sign.
That's where I was going with this.
I didn't know anything. They just kicked me out.
They could end up telling you that you're gag ordered and you can't speak to the media anymore, correct?
I'm sure they're going to say that to me.
Yes.
Well, I'm not sure. I don't even know, because they didn't tell me anything, so I didn't know. Other than, here's one thing they did tell me. They did tell me that I had to get all the guns. They called my husband and said I had to have all the guns out of our house if I came home, and that they had to go somewhere else. So that day, my husband had taken them to my daughter's house and put them in their big office, their shed, their building they have there, construction building. And my son-in-law was in that building that night working on his backhoe, and he fell asleep in the chair by the wood stove. And for some reason, after the family went up to the house, and with the little children, my daughter and the little kids, somehow that thing caught on fire and exploded and burned down the whole shop with her husband in it. And she got there, and all my guns and bullets were blown. It was awful. It was awful. She couldn't get in the building. So now he's killed. I'm trying to get home. They call me back and say, you got to get back here. They didn't put this ankle bracelet or something they were supposed to put on you. They didn't do, and I was torn in half. I was 3 hours out and had to come back, and I couldn't get to my family. I'm really distraught because I can't do it until in the morning. So in the morning, I have to go back there, and they're going to give me terms and conditions and whatever. I don't know.
She has to check back into the Portland jail tomorrow because they got to put an ankle bracelet on her.
Right.
So they told her she can't leave Portland for the weekend. So we're concerned that when she goes to do that, they're going to detain her again because she's been telling her story.
Well, the thing is they have no right to do that.
No, they don't. But they also don't have a right to hold everyone in the jail and say, we're not going to let you out until those guys come off the refuge. That's not right either.
Right. That has whatever's going on there has nothing to do with the Constitution, and you have a right to bail. You have a right to bail.
Yeah, right to bail, due process, the whole thing.
No justice, no peace. Unarmed 18-year-old girl.
Bad choice. 18-year-old daughter. Someone's daughter. You're okay with it?
The boys' voice. We are. 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 The boys' voice. Wrong. Educate yourselves. You sound ignorant. All right, let's try that. I don't know.
According to the Constitution, the government should not interfere with affairs of state. They are allowed to hold a building.
All right, there we go.
I want you guys to get the idea that there's not any support here. It's massive, massive support in this rally.
Don't take our rights. 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 Don't be afraid. Don't take our rights. Stand up. Don't take our rights. Don't take our rights. Don't take our rights. I know you're afraid. Don't take our rights. 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 Don't be afraid. Don't take our rights. Don't look at him. 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 Just by 1,000 people, guys. Little piece by little piece. You have the same rights that your grandfather did. We are home! We are home! You go home! We are home! Back to your warm homes! Murder!
Look at this, America. This is what your town's going to turn into. This is what your town is going to turn into. Everybody here works for the government, or they're on some kind of social program. Everybody here is beholden to the BLM and to the sheriff and to the judge.
Ladies and gentlemen, everybody that is rallied here on either side, we are all from America. We're all Americans. Yeah! We are all Americans here, okay? We all have a voice, and we appreciate you guys being here as much as I appreciate everybody over here. We're all Americans. You have signatures here. 200 plus signatures here that say they live here too. They live here too.
We've been hanging out with.
All we want is the FBI and this armed overreach to go home. Go home. We want your community and the people accountable for the death of LaVoy Finicum held accountable, because they are as guilty as the FBI that pulled the trigger. We all need to stand together. There's a sign up here that shows dividing. We are dividing, and we need to heal that divide. There are people here that want to help. You stand there and you say go home, but you do nothing. You do nothing. You support the people that pulled the trigger.
I'm standing there and you're poking that shit in my face.
Where were you when the Hammonds were taken? Where were you?
Yeah, where were you?
I was here.
Where were you?
Where were you?
Yeah, where were you? And what kind of community talk to him? Come on, where's Brandon? I want to talk to him. He just got stacked by another criminal.
I want to share with everybody here what exactly we're asking for. I want to share with everybody what exactly your community is asking for. There's more signatures here than there are you. They're out here with us. There's more signatures here. You have standing with you. This is your community. This is Harney County over here. As well as you.
County over here.
This is where Harney County stands. There and here. Heal the divide. Heal your divide. Listen to your residents. Listen to your community members. Listen to everybody. They're listening to you. They are listening to you.
There's a tremendous amount of people here in support. It's not just hey guys, can I put you on? Here's some people who aren't afraid. You guys would not believe how many people I've talked to this morning, the amount of phone calls that I've gotten of people saying they were afraid to come here because of retaliation by those people on the other side.
We're here.
So, there she is, having a hard time holding this thing. I don't have my whole thing with me.
Oh, yeah. That does make it hard, especially if your hands are getting cold. And
No, my hands aren't cold. It's kind of warm out here. It's a balmy, what, 40 or something?
I think so. It's not very warm. Looks like it's
Yeah. Hi. All these brave people of Harney County.
Yes.
They know that there's going to be retaliation of some kind. Yes. You can hold that up in the air if you like. They know there's going to be retaliation. People would be here en masse if they weren't so afraid. One of the reasons we came here in the first place was because people were afraid, and they didn't have a voice, and they were asked, can somebody come here and help us? But when you come here and help people, and they don't have a voice, and you have so many people coming against you.
Hands up! Don't shoot! 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 We're hard!
Anyone here that believes the government is not corrupt? Be honest. I didn't think so. That's what they're fighting against.
You're looking worse and worse, man. Who were the ones to fire their guns in anger? I want to know that answer. FBI, kill LaVoy! 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 FBI, kill LaVoy!
This is coming from Clive and Bundy, Bunkerville, Nevada. A notice to Harney County Sheriff. The notice goes to the sheriff. A copy goes to the governor of Oregon and the president of the United States. And they're going certified mail and email to the world. And this email to the world is what you should catch up on right soon. Here's what it says. Dear Sheriff Ward, this is notice that we the people of Harney County and we the people of the citizens of the United States do give notice that we will retain possession of the Harney County Resource Center. And in parentheses, it was used to called Maori National Wildlife Area. remove all federal and state police agents out of Harney County. Place Harney County Sheriff Post Guard at the entrance road of Harney County Resource Center. Stop all from entering, exiting for a time. Cliven D. Bundy. So I have taken some charge here, and that is actions.
So is
the county sheriff.
So am I to take this as you are going to reoccupy the refuge?
I didn't say that. I just said that we're giving the county sheriff a chance to take control of this.
Okay, all right.
Let's see what happens. We posted this here just within probably the last hour.
All right.
Let's see what he does.
All right. Well, we are out of time here, Cliven. Is there? There are people that are really wrapped up in this. A lot of cool heads have been looking at this, and they said, wait a minute, we're going to let these people deal with this. We're not going to come out there as volunteers or anything else. But this situation is not going to go away. The administrative agencies are not going to go away. The BLM is not going to go away. There is many more reasons.
And Cliven Bundy's not going away, and all of those that follow him or believe in our country, our Constitution, state sovereignty, freedoms and liberty, our property rights, and justice for the Ammon family, and justice for LaVoy Finicum, and even justice for my sons. I think there's a lot of us, and we're not asking anything or saying anything except federal government. You don't have no jurisdiction authority here. Get out of Harney County. And county sheriff take control of this. You take and protect. County sheriff, you protect those that are in that resource center. You protect them, and from them coming out and from anybody going in. That's all I've asked the sheriff today. We'll see how he does.
Are you here? Rep Radio, you there?
Yes, we're here.
Hey, this is David Fry from the Refuge at Oregon, Burns, Oregon.
David, man, I've been trying to get a hold of you for 4 freaking days, dude.
Really? Yeah, our phone lines have been cut, basically. Now, this is the weird way to communicate.
Right, yeah, I heard, we were told this morning, some of the cops in town told us they cleaned you guys out of there last night.
No, it's not true. We're still here. We're still waiting for people to help us.
Well, how do we get you out of there, dude? How do we get you out of there?
The people need to start forming an army, right? Get a good army. Just walk through. You don't even have to have guns. Just walk through.
Yeah, they have removed the checkpoints up until you turn into the refuge. It actually says road blocked. We went up there today and took a look. I have a reporter out there.
We're not out of here. You physically see us. Yeah, they keep lying. The news articles are all lies. They keep lying about everything. We're still here. We're still here.
All right. I'm going to let...
They might try to come and kill us. Who knows? And then just cover that up, too. Who's to report it?
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm saying you guys are with Cliven Bundy to keep standing up, keep fighting. He said continue the standoff. And I think Oath Keepers and a lot of these big militia force, I think they're compromised. Their leaders are keeping the militias from acting. They keep telling them the next battle, and they keep telling you to stand down on this, spreading disinformation. This one's over. It's not true. And so the militias aren't acting, and so they keep saying next battle. But like I said, I think this is the battle that really could have made the difference. It's going to be a lot tougher in the future after they have all this info on how to keep them down now.
I would say that the first sign of aggression was when the police opened fire on the vehicle in LaVoy. That's a sign of aggression. The second form of aggression was they came out here with a couple vans and unleashed this remote-controlled drone that was flying very low, like right above us pretty much, and I had to shine a spotlight on it just to get it out of the way, and it flew away, because I guess they can't see night vision with the lights on there. But that was kind of scary. They drove away, and now they cut off all our communications. Like, I can't make outbound calls. I can't browse the internet. Inbound calls are now limited. they're basically now almost about to snuff us out completely. So I'm really thinking this is, once they hear about this, they're going to cut this communication out completely too. So they're pretty aggressive in a stance. They use a lot of mind games, a lot of manipulation to try to get you to back away and back down and whatnot. And eventually they're going to resort to force once you don't comply to their peaceful measures. But it's getting pretty scary now because we're about to be blacked out.
You don't know me, but I'm from Patriot Nation. This is Maha. I'm not going to ask you any questions because we're already on top of you, brother. You're one of the strongest little millennials I've seen in quite a while. We've spent 120 people for the last 2 nights trying to figure out how to get you 4 out of there. But we're glad to know that you're okay and that the comms are back up. And we're sitting here. Now we're debating what our next move is now that you guys don't want to be extracted out. And I just wanted to also personally tell you guys that we're proud of you, Sandy, Sean, you, and the fourth. They're probably listening right now on Zello right now live with you guys. And so now our move is to figure out what to do next. If you guys don't want us to come and get you, we got to figure out now what we're going to do next because we spent 2 nights of no sleep trying to figure that one out. So I'm proud of you.
All right.
All right.
Hey, thanks for the support and thanks for the concerns. Appreciate that. As far as extraction, I mean, hell, we can't just be fugitives for the rest of our lives. Obviously, you're gonna have to confront the enemy eventually, and so I think the best thing right now is try to get. I've been telling people we need to start mobilizing a little army, of people to not fight but to make a stand. So I mean, the best stand to make right now would just be to tell the feds to get the hell out of here, and then they get out of the state, make them leave. That would be a good stand, and then from there, who knows what can happen with so many people.
Well, our plan is just to let you know, okay? Just to let you know where we are planning on 2,500 or more. Okay, so just bear with us, and now that we know you're okay, we know our time is a little bit more. So you just hold tight, guys, and just try to keep feeding us to let us know you're okay online, all right? And I thank you guys for Revolutionary Radio for letting us hear from our boys and girls in there. And, brother, hold tight, okay? And I will look you up when you're home safe and sound, too. So you guys just hold tight, and we're going to match it up somehow or another, all right?
All right, well, we'll hold it as long as we can. But like I said, tonight's probably the last night we'll have any kind of comms coming out of here. And we'll try to hold on as long as we can, but I recommend people still get here to find out the truth, if they actually wipe this out or what happened to us. But we'll still be here as long as we can.
Well, one last thing before you cut me off. If something happens to you four, they hope that God they better be ready for it. So you guys have a good night. Be safe and be strong, okay?
Will do. Take care, brother.
All right, brother.
Thanks.
All right, and I want to remind everybody this is Revolution Radio.
Hey, David, can you hear me? I can hear you.
All right, this is Steve. I'm out of Kansas with Independent Media. We've been following this deal since day one, actually several months now. Some of the local patriots down here in Kansas are getting a lot of their information from me. What kind of message do you want me to deliver them tonight? They're in the middle of a meeting right now. I told them I would have to get out of the meeting to come in here and get with you because we've kind of lost all contact now that you've lost the internet. So what kind of message would you like me to get delivered down here from Kansas?
Well, I think right now there's a lot of Americans and a lot of patriot groups really thinking right now. And, if there's a lot of them that agree that something needs to be done and they need to vocalize, I think there will be enough people to get something done, maybe even possibly change America for the better in one night. I mean, I think it's possible if enough Americans get together and do something. So I think there's a lot of patriot groups out there that are thinking, and I think they should just agree, take a leap of faith, and then let's get this done. Let's get to work.
Right on. I can understand it completely. We were supposed to be up there by now, but we had a death in the family. We'll have the funeral for another few days. Once we do that, then we plan on coming up there. We've got actual good broadcasting equipment to try to get stuff out. But course, we can't get into where you guys are.
And I do want to let everybody know that I'm sure the FBI is listening in on this. And so if the government feels like there's a threat that's coming, then they're going to try really quick and fast to squash this. So I think our days are limited here. Our days are numbered.
David, Sandy, Sean, Jeff, you guys are awesome. People are on their way to stand with you right now. Do not lose hope.
I'll tell you something. The people in Watchmen's Chat, I'm a moderator there, they're going to hate me if I don't beg you to come down there, to come down. But after what happened to LaVoy, I'm sorry, I have to say, I applaud what you guys are doing. You're doing what Ammon would be doing if he was still there. And we have to keep our ground. We are starting to make noise, people.
All right, Bill and Santilli over there, I understand that you are David's parents, and you guys want to say something to David right now. You guys are on speakerphone to each other. Hopefully this works out. Yeah, we can hear you. Hey, Mom. I love you. Love you, Dad. Yeah. Yeah, they're still praying for that miracle. Thanks. I definitely try my hardest here. A lot of people, everybody here are trying their hardest to make a change. I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad to hear it from you guys. Maybe this will be the last time we get to talk, but I'm glad that you guys said that. I'm glad everybody got to hear it.
All right, well, we love you. I don't want to hold up, but I know you got a lot of callers who want to talk to you. And you need the support of those people, so we'll let you get back to that.
All right, Dad. Hopefully I'll talk to you guys again sometime soon. So I love you guys. Have a very good night. Don't be too worried.
Okay. Love you.
Love you guys. Have a good night.
All right. Bye.
And tell everybody else I love them too. David said, tell everyone else that he loves them too.
We know that Ammon Bundy's actually being threatened that if anybody else is hurt or injured in this process, that he will be held liable. And so he's he's basically being held hostage. So he has to help with the police to try to resolve the situation in a peaceful manner, so he can't be held liable. And so I don't think he should be held liable because this is our own choice. This has nothing to do with his choice. So the government's holding him hostage and doing that. So that's wrong.
I eventually talked to David, and I tried to talk him out, and he's not going to come out. He's not going to.
Why?
His parents have tried. His friends have tried. And I don't know. I think it's just, he's young, I think, and idealistic. There's some older people there with him that are doing the same thing. I can't figure it out. But he said that as far as he was concerned, he had a mission, and he wasn't going to be a coward, and he was gonna hold that position until death. That's what he told me. So we tried to talk him out of it. I'm with a man named Brandon Curtis. He's the leader for the Idaho 3%ers.
Mm-hmm.
I know he's tried to talk to him. The FBI has tried to talk to him. Everybody and the other people up there, everybody's tried to talk to him, and he will not listen. He's not going to listen. I want everybody to remember this. And we live streamed enough. I think that everybody can grasp this, and that is they lulled all of these guys into a false sense of security. They could come and go as they please.
Mm-hmm.
They ate in the restaurants in town. They went grocery shopping. They went clothes shopping. People could come and go off of that refuge into town anytime they wanted. They walked right up to the police, shook their hands, talked to them, walked up to the FBI compound, talked to them, and they lulled them into this false sense of security. It wasn't until Governor Kate Brown sent a message to Loretta Lynch demanding, just like they did in Waco, that they end this thing. It's the same exact scenario. There are still 4 people up there, and we're trying trying to do everything that we can, and it's just really tough when they don't want to listen, but they don't want it to be over. They still want to make their stand, and it's sad. It's sad because it is over.
So the four that are there over at the refuge, you guys got to hear a little bit of the rallies that are taking place right now. What are your guys' inputs on what's going on?
It's awesome. It means America's hearing our story and waking up, fighting for their rights as well. Really appreciate the support. We do. We need the American people to stand for us.
So who exactly are we talking? Who are we talking to right now?
This is Sean.
And who else do we got over there?
Jeff. And Sandy. And David.
And
4 lives matter. 4 lives matter.
4 lives matter is what they're saying. And what we're understanding right now is they're also shutting off your communication to the outside world from the refuge, so you are not able to receive calls or put out calls other than just one phone line. Is that correct?
Correct.
Right. And I mean, obviously, I'm calling right now to be able to get in touch with you guys. So, but the other phones, they're either all turned off, or what happens when you dial out?
We get a FBI agent.
Yeah, or we get from our phone companies, the signal that it makes. This phone call cannot be completed as dialed.
Right. All right.
We're reaching out to some people that have. We've actually asked the FBI for a third-party negotiator, a man named Franklin Graham, and they tell us that they are working on it. So we'll see what happens with that. If you could follow up on that, we would really appreciate it.
Franklin Graham. And where's Franklin Graham? And who is he?
He's a Christian man. He's a spiritual leader. He's actually traveling around the country right now. He's holding prayer meetings on the state capitol of every state so that we can get some good elections, get rid of some of this corruption.
Right.
Anyway, we have asked for him to be our third-party negotiator, and the FBI tells us that they are working on that. So it was only yesterday that we asked, so it could be a few days before we know what's going on for sure.
Okay.
We'd really like to get some media out here so that they can see what's really happening. They're shutting their First Amendment rights off as well, so that just backs us up of what we're trying to portray here of the tyranny in this government that are taking people's rights away.
All right.
When we protest, they took our rights away. Now they're taking the media's First Amendment rights away as well. They're going to take everyone's rights away if they're not stopped.
So today is Monday, 12:50 p.m., February 1st.